But Dan's is always waft. So he's got to predict all this, like, it was 1, 2, but then it was like the government leaning forward. Isn't it? They're never like a straight hit.
Just fucking get onto it, mate. Come on. Prediction 1 was around interest rates. How'd you go?
Oh, I got it wrong.
What did you predict?
They had no cuts.
Yeah.
One increase, 2 cuts. Well, 2 cuts was wrong. So fucking...
Oh, dang.
What is it? No, is it? But is it not? I don't know how many rates increases there were. Do you guys? Exactly.
Yeah,
I don't think we're recording, are we?
Yeah.
This is nonsense. Read us out, Ren. What do we do?
So interest rates, Dane, your prediction was 1 increase and 2 reductions. Dan, yours was 1 or 2 increases, a couple of reductions, and rates sitting at 6%.
I'm claiming
That's a whole
rates.
percent,
mate. I'm claiming rates at 6%. That's
right.
pretty close.
You can bring this in.
Fuck, thanks,
Been a while.
So first prediction for 2024 was around interest rates. My bet was we're going to have 1 increase, then a couple of decreases, then we're going to ride it out at about 6%. I'm claiming a half a pass mark because we're kind of running at about 6%, right?
That wasn't the question though, was it, back then? So it was, were you going to have increases or decreases? I said 1 increase and then 2 decreases, which was wrong.
All right, we're both 0 from 1.
Capital cities versus rural in growth. Dane, stick to capital's rent to value ratio.
All right, so our next one was, should you invest in rural or capital cities? Which one's going to have the best chance of growing? So what we both went with, well, I'm not going to answer yours, but I'll say it. But I said, hey, you want to stick with capital cities. In the end, the rent to value ratio is a lot higher. That's where all the work is, where all the infrastructure is, everything like that. Bet with the numbers, and I'm going to give myself a pass mark for that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we elaborated on it and basically said, look, we're going to see a transition where people are going to be forced to come back to the city. They're going to have to come back to work. Yep. And you've seen all the big players out there. Their work from home is starting to be on the decline.
Yeah.
So I think we're both a pass mark. Both pass mark.
One each.
1 out of 2. We're on.
Government grants. Dane, no real incentives and interest rates coming down is more...
No incentives?
Interest rates coming down is more important for borrowing capacity than your grants. Dan,
other states
will try and stimulate their market with incentives.
Oh.
All right, the third prediction we made was around whether the states were going to follow the lead. I think it was Queensland was making the first moves there where they were increasing their first homeowners grant throughout the year. And it was around whether there would be more incentives, more drivers to try to get people reinvigorated in the property market. What did you say?
So my answer was no, which was wrong.
Dan came out and he said straight off the bat there would be lots more incentives coming out there. And I think we've seen it most recently, just in the last few days, we've seen the Victorian government come out with their off-the-plan incentives. You see the Northern Territory government, $50,000 first homeowner grant. There is so much going on out there that I'm giving myself like an A+ for that one. I even get a little gold star as well.
It's just 1 point. So 2, 1.
Rental increases. Dane, rents will keep increasing, but no huge post-COVID increases like we've seen. Dan, rents will stabilise in line with CPI.
On with CPI. I don't think they did that.
No, I think they kept on beating CPI.
Well, that means you're wrong.
Yeah.
All right. So how are we fucking bringing these in? Right. So our next prediction was rental increases. So first up, are we going to see a replication of the post-COVID rental increases? Is it going to keep shooting off like that? Mine was no, I think they'll start to stabilise. There was a few things that came into effect there with people only being able to sort of pump up their rent once a year and so on and so forth. So I'm giving myself a pass. Dan?
Yeah, I sort of wound myself back a little bit. I sort of said, I think it'll stabilise, but more in line with CPI. I'm going to be honest here. I reckon it's probably continued a bit higher than CPI. And let's make it interesting. We'll give Dane the point and we'll hold back on a point for me so that we're riding an even keel heading into the last question.
All right, 2-2.
ADF retention. Dane, more retention benefits for junior ranks. Dan,
Yep.
benefits won't be enough to retain members if conflicts overseas rank up.
Oh, this is
and
naff.
their appointments.
What did I actually say? So,
Absolute naff, like usual.
That's naff. Who came up with this, Rod?
You.
So the last one we had there, the last prediction for 2024 was there was going to continue to be, or whether there would continue to be, more incentives to defence members to stem the tide of people marching out the door of the defence community. So what did you say?
I said I think they're going to continue with their retention benefits, which they have. I've got a fair few clients actually that are taking those up. right? So they're going to continue that with their hurt areas.
Yeah, absolutely. My answer was absolute fluff, but the crux of it was if there's no deployments coming forth, then you would need to have plenty of cash still coming in to be able to retain the members, which in actual fact is pretty much the same answer as Dane, but mine had a heap of fluff.
Yeah.
So I'm going to
Standard.
call it, we were both correct on that one. I'm claiming the victory. So where did we end up? What was the scorecard?
So claiming the victory. So it's 3-3. So in the end, we're exactly the same.
Yeah.
So next year, though, I'm sure I'm going to smash him into oblivion and be 5-1 or something absolutely hectic like that. But most likely, we'll probably end up the same again. All right, that's it for this year. Make sure you tune in for our 2025 predictions and see how we go next year.